The Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés and his band destroyed Tenochtitlan and the Aztecs. Driven by their thirst for gold, they marched from the Atlantic coast to the Aztec capital. The Tlaxcala, enemies of the Aztecs, joined them. On their way, they massacred 6,000 Cholcotecs of Cholula, Aztec allies. At the gates of Tenochtitlan, the Aztec Emperor Moctezuma II received them as guests, not as foes. He entertained them at his palace.
That mistake was fatal. Within days, Cortés betrayed the emperor's trust and took him hostage. The Aztecs fought, rebelled against his treachery, but lost. Their traditional weapons were no match against Spanish horses, guns, and steel. Their bodies had no immunity against smallpox, the fourth hidden weapon of the Spaniards. King Moctezuma was assassinated. Tenochtitlan was in ruins. That year was 1521, just 2 years since Cortés landed.
The Aztec Empire vanished. Spain took over and called it New Spain. It's a brand new colony. Cortés was anointed as its first governor. Immigrants from Spain arrived to make their fortunes. Missionaries arrived to convert natives to Catholicism. New cities with many churches were built. The once proud Aztecs were forced to pay tributes to the newcomers and provide cheap labor. They became slaves in their own land.
Tenochtitlan vanished. Mexico City was built over it. Templo Mayor was replaced by a Spanish church. Today, this church has grown into a huge landmark metropolitan cathedral. Inside the cathedral, we see a new set of symbols for worship, far removed from those of Aztec faith.
In 1531, halfway between Mexico City and the Atlantic coast, the city of Pueblo was built. A huge cathedral stands south of its zocalo. This city center has now earned it a World Heritage Site status. Pueblo is the fourth largest city in today's Mexico. We walked from its old theater. And along its avenue of sweets and pop into some shops. We also get to enjoy lunch with our guide and his daughter in a charming local restaurant.
Cholula, an Aztec settlement, became a Spanish town. And the Church of Our Lady of Remedies was built on the Great Pyramid to replace its Aztec shrines. Cortes promised that he will replace every native temple in this town with a church. He did. Today, there are 365 churches here.
A new town of Tasco was built to access the silver mines in the area. We take a bus to Itzcolo and we see its huge Church of Santa Prisca. It was built by Jose de la Borda, who became rich from silver mining. The town itself is beautiful, with its charming and irregular streets. We enter a silver boutique and admire the skills of Tasco's silversmith.
Of all the churches in this country, the one at Tepeyac Hill in Mexico City stands out. It inspired Mexicans to end Spanish rule. This site was once home to the Aztec goddess Tonantzin, meaning our mother in Nahuatl. After 1531, she was replaced by the Christian deity, the Virgin of Guadalupe. According to myth, this virgin appeared before the native Juan Diego and not a foreigner. This fact alone triggered a large-scale indigenous conversion to Christianity and its acceptance. We also see the Templo del Pocito with a well inside. It represents a spring of healing created by the Virgin. After that, we walk over to a huge courtyard and see the old basilica for the Virgin. Its modern replacement is right next door. We look around and then watch the Mass. This Virgin of Guadalupe is now a symbol of social justice and identity for most Mexicans.
all because it was under the Virgin's banner that Mexicans fought their war of independence from Spain and won. That year was 1821, 300 years after the fall of Tenochtitlan. At last, the people were free from Spain. By now, the people were mostly mestizo, descendants of Europeans married to indigenous people. But there were troubles ahead for this young and new Mexico.
Americans took away its Texas territory. The Mexico-American War started. Mexico lost even more, about 55% of its territory, including New Mexico and California. When that was over, the Franco-Mexican War of 1861 started. The French tried to recolonize Mexico, but President Benito Juarez of indigenous Zapotec origins stopped the French. Today, Mexico honors Juarez. We can see his beautiful hemicyclic monument in Mexico City.
Free Mexico had more problems at the end of the 19th century, most of them internal. Porfirio Diaz was president. We see one of his landmark construction, the El Ángel Monument, which honors the 100th year of Mexico's independence. Though he modernized Mexico, Diaz's presidency was autocratic, dictated to by American interests, corrupt, and one which suppressed the working class. In 1910, Mexicans revolted. Their revolution took 11 years to succeed. Mexico became a viable democracy. A huge monument celebrates this revolution in Mexico City. We go up its tower to watch the sunset on modern Mexico.
The Plaza of Three Cultures in Mexico City portrays all three phases of Mexico's history in mortar and stone. The old Aztec structures are in the foreground. A colonial church stands in the background, and a large apartment complex of today looms in the distance. This area was once called Talonco and is very close to Tenochtitlan.
In 1521, the Aztecs fought their last battle against Cortes right here. King Moctezuma was already dead, and so had his successor, a victim of smallpox. Cuauhtemoc, a teenage cousin of Moctezuma, took up the mantle and gallantly fought to save Tenochtitlan. But his army of 40,000 Aztecs were slaughtered right here in Tlatelolco. The heroic Cuauhtemoc was captured, tortured, and hanged. This plaza is now a hallowed site of history.
Mexico has now come of age. Close to our hotel Barcelo Mexico Reforma sits the Alameda Park. It is rich with sculptures of Greek, Roman and other deities. As well as historic figures of note. One honors even Gandhi. At the end of the park looms a majestic neoclassical style building. It is the Palacio de Bellas Artes, a museum by day and a spectacular theatre by night.
In today's Mexico, the nation's founders, the Aztecs, have not been forgotten. Their myth of an eagle sitting on a cactus eating a snake is seen everywhere. Even at the center of the national flag of Mexico.